Hello, and welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. Hope everyone's having a wonderful... What is it?
Thursday.
It is Thursday. Holy shit, we made it. Almost the weekend time. It may or may not be playing the welcome music right now. I'm not sure. It may or may not.
It is.
Let's see. Let's go see if we can do monitor off and then put monitor out. It is.
There we go.
It is playing. Full of pussies. I don't know.
The kids aren't all right.
The kids aren't all right. Yeah, absolutely. But we got a great show for you guys tonight. I'm very, very excited. Before we get too far into it, of course, let's talk about the sponsor. We got TopLobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you get this great Dr. Ron Paul for Congress 1970. I think it's 74, right? Yeah, 1974 shirt that you see me wearing tonight by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or you can join the Patreon, subscribe star, become a member of the YouTube channel under all of our videos by hitting the join link. Or you can get a private Discord server and get all of Top's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. Of course, Ryan pretty much moderates that now. I do need to get back in there and start doing it. I'm going to start doing more stuff. Now that I'm not doing the real estate course, I finished my real estate course. I do have to study for the test and stuff, but I'll have more time. And of course, I fucked up. I messed up. I turned off the music. My bad.
Boomer in the stream.
Boomer the stream. And of course, Peacehawk.coffee. With this small coffee roasting business, Peacehawk will sell delicious micro-batch roasted coffee online while donating at least $1 of every pound sold to worthy foreign aid organizations like Yemen Relief and Reconstruction Foundation. While their initial focus will be on Yemen, Ethiopian coffee, they'll also have some affordable Central American varieties available too. However, Peacehawk will always donate at least $1 from every pound sold to worthy foreign aid organizations. When you buy Peacehawk coffee, you're not only buying great coffee, you have a chance to support the economies of countries struggling against the effects of war, support stellar private aid foundations doing life-saving work abroad, support stateside peace activists like myself and everyone who's ever been on the show pretty much. The name Peacehawk will be the counter to the Warhawk, who is aggressively pro-war. This company will be aggressively pro-peace. Sign up today at their email list at peacehawk.coffee to get all kinds of updates when new varieties go live and all that good stuff. I promise you, the coffee is delicious, absolutely delicious. Let's check in with my two wonderful co-hosts. Of course, first we got Mr. Ryan Kurtz. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
Well, very boring day at work, so I'm excited to be doing something other than copying and pasting from an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, by the way, give me some yep cocks in the chat.
Yes,
I need some
yep
yep cocks. It'll lift my spirits.
Gotta have some yep cocks.
Give the man some yep cocks.
This man just wants your cocks. That's it. You know what I mean? Poor guy just needs a cock one time. He's trying to figure it out. He didn't get to try it in college. You know what I mean? And of course, AJ, our other wonderful co-host, sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Chinese
spy balloon free. I do not have a metal butt plug currently in my ass.
Are you sure?
I'm not going to go into a. Did you hear about this story?
No.
Oh, I'll tell that later.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
But I'm not wearing one. This will be very clear.
What is that shirt? Oh, are you wearing what is that? A Tani Hanzo?
His butt plug is purely silicone.
Yes. I only use purely silicone butt plugs.
Hey,
it's safer that way.
It is safer that way. Yeah, silicone butt plugs, unless you're allergic to silicone like I am.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would fuck me up real bad.
Found that out the hard way.
Lamb skin?
No, so latex is actually what they make condoms out of, not silicone, you dumb fuck. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. You're allergic to latex, I meant.
No, I'm allergic to silicone, not latex.
AJ uses silicone.
Two different
condoms.
things, buddy. Two totally different.
Well, wait, isn't everybody allergic to silicone? That's supposed to be encased.
I don't know, dude. So when I had plugs, because I used to have these big plugs, right? I had got some silicone ones that you could like smash down and put in, and they'd slowly supposed to stretch your ears out, and my ears swole up like fucking like the cue ball on the pool table.
Holy shit!
It was bad. It was really
How'd
shitty.
you explain that?
I didn't. I just took him out and cried for a couple days, and it's like, no girl's gonna want to hang out with me now.
Suffer in silence.
Chilled out.
Josh.
Yeah, that's what men do. We suffer in silence, dude. Nobody gives a shit about our
Now I
problem.
gotta tell it. A dude had a metal, thought it was a silicone butt plug, had a metal butt plug and went to an MRI machine.
It was advertised as 100% silicone.
No, it had a metal core.
It fucked him
Guess
up
what
pretty.
that did?
He died.
Dude, if you have like a penny in your
Quite.
pocket, it like goes through your chest if you're in an MRI.
Yeah, you'll die. You can die.
It wasn't good.
Oof.
I think he survived with horrific
Damage.
injuries.
Yeah, really bad. Like that's like a fucking. That's like a 50 cal bullet ripping through you there.
I'm 90% through it's true.
I believe
Jesus,
the
dude.
doctor described it as an anal rail gun.
Holy shit,
I
dude.
think somebody used that as a headline on TikTok or something.
I'll say this.
Yeah, an anal railgun.
So Julia, you know,
Not recommended.
my fiance, she currently is a salesman for
I
Afterlife
don't like where this is going.
Afterlife Products.
Okay.
We'll just leave it at that. When you die, someone has to do something with your body, and she sells that something. And she was talking with a man who was a retired physician from a small rural town in Iowa, and he told her a story of a Catholic priest coming into the hospital because he got a candle stuck in his rectum. A candle. Now, you know, any normal person would be like, yeah, like, you know, the long skinny candles. No,
Yeah.
dude. It was one of the 3-wick,
The votive
the
3-wick.
the 3-wick candles stuck in his rectum, dude. And he's like, I fell on it. That's what he said. I fell.
Wow.
I fell on the candle, and that's how this happened. No, you didn't, dude. That's not how.
Jesus
That didn't get up there
Christ.
from a fall, buddy.
The doctors know.
The doctors
They-
know.
And they've
You're
seen
supposed
worse.
to have a handle on anything that goes in your ass. Everybody knows that.
Yes, yes. You should always. It's like when you go spelunking with a friend that's going to go into like a really skinny cavern.
Yes.
You got to make sure that you have some kind of thing.
Anchor of some
Yeah.
kind.
It's important, dude. That's an
Ooh.
important thing.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, dude. I thought it was nuts. Anyways, guys, we got a great show for you tonight. I'm very excited. I have been following this guy for a brief amount of time on Twitter, and I've been a big fan of what he's doing and the stuff that he says. He is a snow Mexican, which is not normal for our show. But that's okay. We'll make some
Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
make exceptions
we'll
when
make
you
an
make
exception
fun of
here
Trudeau.
for certain snow Mexicans. But he has written a book. He's the author of a book called Ethics of Vaccine Passports, a Poor Bargain. He is a poor person from Canada. He is Mr. Aviel Oppenheim. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Got the Molson Canadian here.
So we know he's
So
Canadian.
you know I'm a
True.
snow Mexican. Is that
Snow
what you said?
Mexicans, yeah,
Snow
dude.
Mexican, I like that.
We talk a lot about how building the wall at the border. But they building at the wrong border, dude. You know what I mean? Like they're not. You should
Honestly,
be building.
man, I agree with you, Jesus. It's fucked, dude, man. It's fucked here. You gotta get a big wall and stop us from
Coming over,
hopping
yeah.
over, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
stop us, man.
The only problem though is the snowbanks will build over the wall, and then they'll just ride their fucking snow machine over here, anyways. You know what I
They'll
mean?
just get the
Yeah, we'll go on
snowmobiles,
the
eh?
reindeer, you know?
Yeah, yeah, they're
fly
gonna-
over them.
They'll figure out a way. They'll figure out a way.
Most of the border with Canada like a groomed trail. Isn't it like
I think there is a
They cut
trail.
the trees down so it's just a no man's land of like 100 meters. I think
Oh,
so.
really?
Yeah,
I
I
think-
think
I don't know.
so they can surveil it from the air.
Perfect for hand-to-hand combat, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
Nobody's sneaking up on us. You already burned down our White House one time.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
You want to do that
Whoops.
again? That'd be great.
Yeah, dude, that's what that was a saying as well, man.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
someone has to blow that up again, you know.
Sure. So, and this is all in jest, of course. I love many Canadians. Some of my favorite bands are Canadian, unfortunately, including the Flatliners, which is like my favorite band in the whole world. They're
Flatliners. I don't think I've heard of them.
they're a Fat Records punk band, but they started out as like ska-core, and now they're more like I don't know, like indie punk. But they're really good. I like them a lot. There's a lot of good bands from Canada. I grew up. One of my favorite bands was Alexis on Fire for a long time.
Oh yeah.
It's just there's so many, and still even now Dallas Green is like one of my very favorite singers in the entire world.
Yeah, he's
So
good.
there's good people in Canada. There are Boys Night
Dude.
Out was one of my favorite bands for a long time, and so but you went through the shit, dude. So as you guys know, for 2 years on this show, we talked about COVID. At least once a week, we talked about the fucking COVID regime and how much it sucked and the shit it put us all through here in the United States. I was lucky enough to get on a plane 5 minutes before the California lockdowns went into effect.
Oh shit.
At 11:55, my flight took off from San Francisco Airport to Des Moines, Iowa, and I have never been back to California except for to visit once. We drove there, but I was like, there's no way I saw the writing on the wall. I saw it. I knew what was going to happen. I know what our government does during national emergencies. They always find a way to bring in more tyranny and to really kind of, fuck everyone they possibly can at the fastest rate possible and get more regulation enacted and spend more fucking money. And I saw the writing on the wall. I knew this was going to happen. So I was like, well, I'm going to go to Iowa for 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? Because we had to flatten the curve.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That's all it's gonna take. Here we are on fucking 3 years. And so I was just gonna come here for 2 weeks. I packed a suitcase and a I love that he's drinking Molson Ice and you're drinking Modelo.
Oh really?
No, they're drinking Modelo in the studio.
Yeah, right.
they got their real Mexican beer and you got your snow Mexican beer. And so I saw the writing on the wall. I took off. I, of course, famously, everyone knows I came here for a woman and we got pregnant right away. And this is my life now. I live in Iowa and
Wow.
it's, our weather here in the winter isn't much different than Canada, unfortunately.
That sucks.
It's fucking cold as shit here. But
yeah.
I couldn't imagine living in Canada when all this shit went down because I was in the United States where we had all this crazy shit going on. And I'm looking at Canada going, that's way fucking crazier. Like way worse there. What was it like for you? I don't know what part of Canada you're in, and you don't have to say it if you don't want to, but what was it like for you?
I'm next to Toronto, so
Ooh.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, when did this all start for you guys? Was it the same time as the United States, or did you guys lock down even sooner? Do you remember?
I think it was in April or March.
Yeah, so about the same time as us.
Yeah, and I kind of graduated from university in 2019. So I was kind of not really red-pilled at that time.
Oh.
So it took me a few months. And then the moment that the light switched, I was like, holy shit, there's something terribly wrong. And in the red-pilling moments, I lost all my friends and I was kind of becoming really isolated, so that was tough. But the thing that saved me is my family. Like they were sticking by me throughout the whole thing. So
sure, yeah, and that was something for me too. And I was just talking to our HVAC guys the other day about all that. Is we my job here had a mandate for the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
And they said, okay, by October 14th, I think I always want to say October. It was either October or December. I don't remember, but I think it was October 14th. You have to have taken the jab or you will be walked out of the building. And I went around in my division and was like, hey, we have to stand up against this shit. We can't do this. And all the other guys are kind of like me. They're like, they don't really trust the government. So I knew I had like some leeway there already. But the reason why I was able to be so brave was because I went and talked to my wife. And my wife is here in Iowa, famously an anti-vaxxer. She helped to found Informed Choice Iowa, which is a really, I mean, they've pushed all the health freedom legislation here in Iowa. They've written it.
Yep.
I mean, they lobbied and wrote it. And so she was like, listen, sweetie, we'll go live in the forest. I don't give a shit. Like you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it. And so I went around and I was like, look, guys, I'm not doing it. And everybody's like, let's do a religious exemption. I said, no, absolutely not, dude. I'm not going to lie. Because I've never been an anti-vaxxer. In fact, I was a staunchly pro-vax going into 2020.
Really?
And I came out of 2021 staunchly anti-vaxxer, dude. Like staunchly. And so I had this opportunity, to see like all the stuff that she had been talking to me about for the year, but she had my back. And so I said, no, I'm not going to do a religious exemption. I'm going to tell them that I shouldn't be forced to put anything in my body by my job that I don't want to put in there. And if they have a problem with that, I'll leave. And so we all came together And we told the boss, okay, well, here's our notice. October 14th will be our last day. And on October 10th, they sent us an email. The mandate has been lifted. 4 days.
Nice.
So I sweated out. I think for like 3.5, 4 months, I was sweating. I was like, "This shit, what am I going to do? I have all these kids. I got to take care of my family, but I'm
it's
not."
really stressful.
Yeah, it was scary. So you wrote a book about this stuff, man.
Yeah.
So tell us what the book's about, why it's important, and why people should read it.
Okay, so if I'm saying this to someone who hasn't read the book, I would sort of tell them that the book is like sort of like in 3 parts or in 4 parts. So the main part of the book is about vaccine passports, but it also takes a lot of time to look at what I call the war on COVID, or the COVID vaccine crusade, because I don't really call it a pandemic. I don't really call it that.
Sure.
So it really takes a look at from 2020 to 2022 and looking at how all the governments in Canada, in the United States, and Hong Kong and France, they were like all doing the exact same shit, you know? And the goal was to get the entire damn population vaccinated no matter what. So it really looks at how they did that and the things that they said and the policies they enacted. So that's a main component of the book. And then another part of the book I want to talk about was, especially for people who will take this book and look through it in the future, is to tell them sort of what were the arguments and what was the ideology that led to vaccine passports, right? So I essentially take a lot of time in the book to see the way in which the corporate media and the academics and all of them used arguments to sort of get the population to actually accept vaccine passports. So I go through those arguments and I just rip them in a way, and I show how fucked up the whole thing is. And the last point on the book is that I take time to look at what I call the vaccine matrix, in terms of looking at how the population has been groomed for very long to accept all vaccines blindly, like to not question vaccines at all. And if you question them, you get hung. So I sort of look back to the 20th century and then the 21st century and seeing how that influenced ultimately what I call the COVID vaccine crusade. So that entirety is what the book's about.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really important, I just kind of want to stake a flag there at the end. I think it's a really important part of all of this. How did we get to a point as a collective society, which, you know, I don't like the term collectivism, but when you have a society, it is a collective. How did we get to a point where such a large portion of people are willing to just blindly put something in their body that the government and the corporate news media, because let's be honest, those were the people pushing it at the end of the day. And I've done a lot of my own research on that subject as well. And it's so weird to think about, but a lot of people don't understand this or don't think about this, right? The pharmaceutical companies pay the media companies to push the drug. Mm-hmm. It's all sponsors. So the media company is out there pushing the drug. Now, you also get kickbacks from using the drug at your doctor's office, emergency room, all these places, right? So when people are telling you to follow the money on these issues, they're not telling you that out of some weird conspiracy theory. It's not a weird... we've all been dubbed conspiracy theorists for saying, hey, follow the money, right? But the truth of the matter is that that's not a theory. That's the truth. When the pharmaceutical companies are paying the media and the hospitals to push a drug, and they're pushing the drug, then they're basically mass brainwashing everyone to just accept that this is what it is. Now, it's so funny to me because, you know, I went to nursing school. I have a nursing license that I've never used. I know a ton of really fucking very intelligent doctors and nurses. I have a friend that I grew up with that's a brain surgeon who transferred over to heart surgery. Okay. These guys are the best of the best. The best of the fucking best, right? They don't know shit about the drugs. They don't know shit about the drugs. That's the truth. That's the honest to God's truth. You do such a small like class on pharmacology in med school or nursing school. It's literally like a 2-part class. You learn all the names of the drugs, their contraindications, what they're used for, and some of the side effects. Now, when you're a doctor and you have symptoms, those guys take those symptoms, they go to a computer, they input the symptoms, they come up with a diagnosis. The diagnosis gives them a choice of what meds to put people on. They look at those separate boxes of those separate meds. They look for contraindications with the patient. They find the one that has the least amount of contraindications, and they prescribe it to the patient.
Correct.
This is how this works. And all of those drugs have been given to the hospital by a pharmaceutical company who said, this is the best drug on the market for this thing. We said so. We made it. We're making the profit. Our shareholders are making the profit, and you need to push this drug. And people do, because your hospital gets paid for that shit. They get kickbacks. This is how the whole medical system is set up in the United States. And it gets so much worse when you start to think about patent laws, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where Martin Shkreli taught us all a very, very valuable lesson. The Pharmadouche bro, who, by the way, I love. I don't give a fuck what you guys say, because he trolled the entire country. He took a drug that less than 10,000 people in the United States were on, jacked the price up by like 500%, and socked it all to the fucking insurance companies. Because all those people who were still taking that drug, it was like an anti-fungal drug for HIV patients. And like nobody really takes that shit anymore unless you've been like long-term HIV since like the fucking 80s and early 90s, right? And none of those patients are paying for those drugs. None of them. They're all getting them through insurance, right?
Yeah.
And so he socked it to the insurance company to prove a point. I can buy an orphan drug. I can buy it. I can go and petition the government for a patent. They're going to give me that extended patent for 10 years, and nobody else can make the drug. Nobody else can make it better, cheaper, and faster, because I'm the only one that has the patent. So not only are these pharmaceutical shitty fucking companies lobbying the government to get patents so that only they can make that drug in that space, they're also the ones pushing the drug to the hospitals. They're also the one pushing the drugs to the media companies. They are literally at the very tippy top of the brainwashing triangle.
Yeah.
The very tippy top. And it's, everybody's like, well, doctors wouldn't push it if it was unsafe. Really? Really? Do you think those
are drug reps? I've witnessed.
Yes,
I've
it's all
witnessed
drug
the
reps.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them talk to the doctors, and they'll come in. They're dressed very well.
Oh, very well.
Business people.
Yeah.
They bring lunch in.
Yeah.
They bring treats in for everybody, and they got samples of their drugs.
That's
And
crazy.
they just walk in and go, "Hey, this is what we're using for this. 60% of our patients that use this have seen this result, and this is this drug." That's it. They just go through it. Here's the gear, and
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and I'll tell you, the doctors.
there's no question and answer session.
No, the doctors seldomly go, oh, how many people died during the trials?
Yeah.
You know what I
That's the
mean?
question. Yeah. What's the what about this? Does it work with this drug?
Right.
Questions like that. That's it.
Part of that is because that supposedly that responsibility has been delegated to the FDA.
Right. It's supposed to be on the FDA. So if the FDA approves the drug,
Yeah.
the hospital's like,
Fuck
well,
the
they,
FDA.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and the
The
FDA.
doctors are going on the assumption that it's past that hurdle.
Yeah, well, it passed the
So
FDA,
it
so it's
must
got to
be
be safe. And that was the whole argument during this COVID shit, dude. Well, it's FDA approved. First of all, it wasn't. It was an
No,
emergency
emergency
use
only.
authorization, EUA, right?
Yep.
And, well, the FDA approved it, so it's got to be safe. That's not the truth. How many drugs have the FDA approved that have killed people?
Then they tell you, well, other
Plenty, like-
mRNAs are FDA.
Let me
approved.
tell you something. You know what the
technology's
you-
been around for years.
do you know what the FDA approved? Fentanyl.
Yeah.
Okay? You want to talk about drugs killing people?
Yeah.
There's hundreds of people, thousands of people dying every week due to fentanyl use. Guess who approved that drug? The fucking FDA. Listen to me. Listen. I'm going to go on a little short rant here, then we'll get back to Aviel. Sorry. I fucked it up. It's Aviel.
No, it's the same thing.
Listen to me. I say this all the time whenever somebody's like, well, the government should, or the government does, or the government is good at Go to any .gov website right now. Right now. I don't care what it is. Western Federal Lands, fucking healthcare.gov, ATF.gov, any of those websites, and try to navigate it. And tell
I'm
me,
gonna do this while you're talking.
and tell me if those are the fucking people, those are the kinds of people that you want in charge of your healthcare, dude. They can't even get a fucking website right.
And I wish their website had the amount of money that they've charged
Right.
from the taxpayers
Right.
to pay for that website.
No, of course not.
Because if you go to the private sector, you're going to get a better website all the time.
So, Aviel, how's it going in Canada? Are they still trying to push these mandates? Are they still trying to push these passports? What's the deal?
I think most people are starting to move on, but I know the fucked up thing is the schools, you know, because these vaccines get pushed through from the schooling, and it's like, and I don't know if they added the COVID vaccine on the childhood list. I'm not exactly sure on that.
They did here in the United States. They put it on the child schedule from like, I think it was like 6 months and up or something like that on the childhood vaccine schedule here
like
in
the
the United
public
States.
schooling system is essentially made now to just pump the vaccines into the kids. That's like the point of the schooling now. That's what it looks like, you know?
Right.
But I'm trying to think if there's any. I think people are right now. They're sort of starting to move past it. Like I know they had like odd COVID, like the variants and stuff. But I think the world is sort of now obsessed with the Ukraine thing. So
right. Well, that's we've been saying that for like over a year, that the next big emergency and COVID will be gone.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. Of course, we all thought it would be the climate change thing right away. I didn't see a war with Russia coming.
Right.
But fuck, dude. I guess that's where we're at now. And
My vote is for Taiwan next.
Although I will say though, a lot of the families in Canada are still very split. Like I went to Cuba, right? And I met someone there.
You were just in Cuba, right?
Yeah, I was just in Cuba. And I met someone there who did not get the vaccine, which is very surprising in Canada. The majority got it, or else that's what I think. So, and he said that he lived with his mom and dad at the time, and they made him get COVID tested twice a week for months.
Jesus.
So a lot of the families in Canada are broken, and I think that brokenness is still impacting, you know. Like I think it's not going to go away.
Oh, no doubt. And I said that on the show too. It's going to take a full generation of people to get rid of the mental crisis
100%.
that this scamdemic has put people through. I mean, that's truthfully what it's going to take, is a full generation of people to forget about all this, because it ruined people. Like it didn't just ruin like a few people here and there. I mean, and I don't like the left. I am not a fan of the left. I think they're the most hypocritical group of collectivists on the planet.
Yes.
I think that they're the fucking most racist people on the planet. I think that they're the most they're just terrible at everything. They're hypocritical when it comes to healthcare and bodily autonomy and everything that they possibly can be, defense and rights, and they are hypocritical about. But the left is fucked up way worse over the last 3 years than any of us can ever imagine. These people spent 3 years in their homes. They put masks on and probably they all got COVID.
And some still do.
The masks are very popular here still.
Yeah, you don't see a mask in Iowa anymore.
Drake College area. I drive by there for my work route. I saw some students at Drake University. It was a couple actually. It was a guy and a girl walking together. They both had masks on.
Really?
Outdoors.
Oh, geez.
Walking across the crosswalk.
I haven't seen a mask. I don't think I've seen a mask in like a year.
Really?
I still see them.
I have a coworker that wears one
I'm
all
jealous.
times unless outside.
Holy shit, dude! At all times.
Aviel,
Yeah.
did you? I haven't read your book yet, but did you find like concrete evidence that basically, I don't want to say mind. We always think of mind control as like, like a science fiction weapon, but I think this was definitely mind control. The countries involved, the way they were pushing the narrative on people. I think it's close to mind control. If you have the government and the media so closely tied together on a narrative, and you get it pushed, there's just so much momentum and money behind it. It's mind control, and
Like,
I think
I'll,
people
like,
just
yeah.
are susceptible to that.
Yeah, like I had some friends in 2020 and before, and they're all sort of on the left, matrixed out kind of thing, and they never talked about a vaccine passport or having the notion that you have to get injected or to walk into an establishment and drink coffee. Like, that idea did not exist, and no one talked about it. And then randomly, out of nowhere, they're just all thinking, oh, it's such a great idea now, and they're talking about it. And I'm like, guys, you fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. Like, it was just such a, like, it does look like mind control because it's just so sudden.
Right.
Outsource both their thought and their morality.
Yeah. Well, what I said, I made a little video where I was like, you guys are going to it's going to take mass uprising to get away from these mandates. Like, that's what I said. It's going to take mass non-compliance. I made a little video about it. But one of the things I said in there was they've criminalized becoming sick. And that's what they did. And especially in Canada, they made you feel like if you were to get sick with COVID, that you were a criminal.
Yeah.
And
That's a really good point.
it's absolutely fucking destroyed the minds of people who bought in to the narrative. Of course, there was a week and a half or so there in the beginning where I was like, well, what if this thing is really bad? I'm sure everybody felt
absolutely
that at some point.
Absolutely.
But when I finally got there, I was like, oh yeah, I see the writing on the wall. It's what's going on. But I came to Iowa perfectly ready to shelter in place just in case this was a fucked up like bioweapon of some sort that was going to take a bunch of people out. I didn't want to die early, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, that's fair.
Yeah, but I knew my mic is hot, guys. I'm sorry. I just realized that what I've been doing? I've been recording that audiobook.
Oh, it's turned.
And I have it turned way up, and I'm looking at the fucking ring, and it's just like bright orange.
No.
I'm like, oops, sorry, dude, my bad. I probably sound less gainy now. I apologize. Yeah, but I just I've been, I was a little scared, but people were terrified of this shit to the point of where they're still terrified of it, even though there's like less than 1,000 people a week dying worldwide. And there was a point where we were losing like a 1,000 people a day in California or some weird shit, which, let's be honest, dude, I don't believe that.
No.
I definitely don't believe that. I think that those numbers were hugely inflated.
Died with COVID rather than of.
And I can't speculate on the YouTube channel because they don't like the speculation, but I do believe that was inflated. I do believe that there's no way if we had listened to the initial doomsday pronouncements about this stuff, we'd all be dead right now.
It was supposed to be like 20 million people or something like that, like within a month or something, and I'm just like, what?
That's fun.
Aviel, I had two small children during this. They were under 5. I never once so I'm going through healthcare facilities, right? So for me, I didn't have any time off. I was one of those quote essential workers.
We all were, buddy.
So I had to go deliver supplies and stuff to all these hospitals, and so I had to experience all their different rules for mask wearing, and some places took my temperature. Some people had me sign in, then that would change, then it would change back. It was a hodgepodge of different like strategies and rules. But I never got answered. My question was, did a child under 5 ever die from COVID? And I never found that stat in Iowa. I was just looking at Iowa stats. Then I looked nationally. A healthy kid, 0 to 5, I don't think ever died from COVID.
Happened. No, never happened.
I don't think an unhealthy kid either.
Not healthy. And all the graphs I saw, it would have 0 to 5 or 0 to 6 would be a category, and it would be plus or minus the confidence interval of the poll or whatever. So I kept asking doctors at work. I go, okay, does this mean that a kid has died from COVID? Like, do I need to give my kids this? Well, no one gave me an answer, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
I'll never forget the thing that happened with. There was 2 instances in the media. There was Oklahoma and Kansas City. And the Oklahoma one was they showed a hospital with a line all the way out the door and said, hospital's so full, people are very, very sick, they can't even get in to see anybody.
Yeah.
And
The bodies are filling up trucks and
They
stuff.
posted it in the middle of summer. That's when the graphic came out, and everybody in line is in winter coats. Every single
that's
fucking
right.
person.
Yeah.
Because Oklahoma's cold in the winter too. Not as cold as us,
Yeah.
but cold. Snowing and all that shit. And they're all in winter coats in the snow outside this hospital. And come to find out, it was like this weird fucking everybody got like norovirus, throwing up and shit. Right? And then Kansas City. This was the best one. This was the one that I really liked. Oh, no. The Oklahoma one was so many people sick from taking horse pills
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
that they're all
The
lying
ivermectin.
about the hospital. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, everybody remembers the Joe Rogan ivermectin era of the COVID.
I remember that.
yeah, and so it's everybody who was at that hospital in that line was there because they were ivermectin
Right,
poisoned.
right.
But then they were like, this is from the winter, and you're posting this in the summer saying this has happened. This isn't happening at our hospital.
Yeah.
Kansas City Metro, their big hospital there. They have a big child unit, huge kids hospital.
That's right.
And the news media posted a picture of their hospital and said that they're so full of child COVID patients that they don't have beds left.
Yep.
And that was out for about a week before the hospital came out and said, no, we don't have a single child COVID patient here. RSV is going on right now, and all of our children in the hospital have RSV, which is normal.
Yep.
RSV circulates every single year and gets kids sick. And here's the fucked up thing.
And is deadlier than COVID.
Much deadlier for kids.
Yep.
Not for adults.
For kids. Right.
Yeah, not for adults. RSV
Not
is
for
like
older fats.
It's like a cold. It's like a cold for anybody over 15, right?
Right.
But so so then you start thinking, you're like, wow, RSV in kids is a lot like the symptoms of what they said about COVID, right? And RSV circulates through kids every single year. Our kids have had RSV. It's very common. Most kids are just fine with RSV. The vast majority of kids that get RSV are fine. There are a small percentage that have a really tough time with it. And even then, a lot less kids die from it than you would think. But there are kids that are hospitalized from RSV. It happens every year. You have to go on breathing machine, not a breathing machine, but like a breathing treatments and get the gunk out of your lungs and stuff. Then I started thinking, I'm like, what if all these kids that are in the hospital for COVID are actually RSV patients? Because the news just tried to tell me that a whole hospital full of kids were in there for COVID, but it wasn't. It was fucking RSV. And the hospital had to come out and say it was RSV. And then I'll tell you this. This is always stuck with me too. We had both of our sons in Iowa at Rob Vaughn's hospital downtown. Not downtown, but close, right?
Yeah, it's close.
And my son Tato was born in December of 2020 at Broadlawn's Hospital in the birthing unit. And the nurses up there were doing double duty, some of them, between the birthing unit and the intensive care unit. And we got this one nurse who's like, I was like, hey, listen, this is off the record totally. I'm not going to say her name or anything like this. This is off the record totally. You're working in the intensive care unit. How many people are in there for COVID right now? And she goes, well, first of all, we're only at like 7% capacity in total in our intensive care unit. Second of all, we have one COVID patient in there.
Yep.
One. This was December of 2020. Okay. This is when we're like the winter of the death, dude.
Yeah.
Like the number one
cold
winter.
the dark winter.
We're losing 2,000 people a day in the United States from COVID, dude. And the hospitals are so full, nobody can even get in. And I'm like, we're like peacefully having a baby in the birthing center, and the hospital's dead, dude. I'm walking around like to vending machines and shit. There's nobody. The ER is like shut down, dude. And she's like, we have one COVID patient in the intensive care unit. She says, I have no fucking idea why they're saying all this stuff on the news.
Mm-hmm.
Because our news even here was like, yeah, hospitals are full and stay away and this and that. And it was like, she's like,
the exact same thing here.
And I was at Broadlands on Wednesday, and the place was pumping.
still, oh yeah, the ER is now for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't the R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've actually doubled the size of the hospital, by the way, too. Sorry,
Oh,
that's
yeah?
off topic.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, dang.
Oh yeah.
Didn't
Yeah,
know.
you could. Aviel's trying to talk. Why don't you
Well, sorry,
shut up for
can't
5
hear too
seconds?
much.
Jeez, dude.
No, but
we're gonna get a tip. We're gonna get one of the lights in here, like Steven Crowder has, that tells you guys to shut up.
With dog
I've
collars.
talked for about a minute and a
I
half
know,
the whole
I know.
podcast.
You're doing very
So
good, buddy.
I've,
You're doing very
I've
good.
been waiting to share a little
No, you're
nugget
doing very
for
good,
like
Ryan.
5 minutes
Ryan's
now.
reeling it in.
Ryan has. I noticed on the last episode that Ryan reeled it in a lot. So what's it been
Sorry.
like there with the hospitals? The same thing you said?
Yeah, same thing. And I would say too that it was around November, December that I started to realize that the people around me, like my friends, were not looking at what was actually going on in terms of I remember asking them in December how many kids have died from COVID. And they thought it was like hundreds, maybe 1,000 or two. And I looked on some of the sites. I was trying to find some accurate data, and it was like 3. And I'm like, dude, how have we been locked down for like a year and just 3 kids have died? Like, I don't understand. And I would say too, another thing that I also talk about in my book is that the notion that you have to lock down if the hospital capacity is going up is insane. That doesn't, there's no logical correlation or train that would make an entire population get locked down and get, smacked over the head with a stick if people are becoming sick and going to get treated for it. So that whole concept was so popular, but it made no sense.
Well, and
I
that brings
thought that
up
was interesting.
something else that, as somebody who worked in healthcare for like a decade, I worked mainly as a facility supervisor because I'm a blue collar guy. I did get my nursing license, but like I said, I never worked at it. I always made more money doing blue collar stuff. I will tell you that they kept talking about census. The census is so full that the hospital intensive care units are at 90%, 92%, and they can't even take more people, and this and that and this and that. Okay, listen, I want you guys to understand something about healthcare. That's literally what the fuck they do all the time.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah.
They actually have coordinators, people that make calls to other hospitals. People that make calls to nursing homes and shit and try to get their census up because they're getting paid for every butt that's in one of those intensive care beds. That's literally what they do. They have people that are designated to get people into the intensive care unit. They always run at 90% capacity.
Yeah.
Always. Fucking always, dude. And if they're not, then they're frantic because they don't have enough people in the beds. That's their business, dude. That's their whole fucking business. And people don't understand that. They think hospitals are supposed to be dead. There's not supposed to be a lot of people at the hospital. No, dog.
Yeah.
The
Makes no
hospital,
sense.
it makes no sense. There's literally, they always run it. Like ICUs especially are almost always, don't even give me.
Same thing in Canada too.
Yeah.
It's always about full or 90%.
Yeah, don't get me started on neurological ICUs, the neuro ICUs, dude. They're always at 100%, bro. They have to bring in extra beds and open new wings all the fucking time, dude. Yeah. That is always how it's been. And here's the thing. During the sick seasons, because we have the winter, everybody gets sick. Some people get very sick, and some people have to go to the intensive care. It happens all the time with pneumonia, especially in older people. They're constantly in the ICU for pneumonia. Those fucking places are like that every single winter. Every winter. Mm-hmm. And if they're not, the hospital's probably not doing very good, and they're probably starting to lay people off and shit.
Correct.
Because they can't keep their ICU full. That's their job. That's their business. It's always been like that. When the media was like, oh my God, ICU's at 90% capacity. That was I remember that was the first time where I was like, wow, dude, they're really trying to push a narrative here because that's just how it is. That's how ICUs always are, dude. I can't imagine an ICU nurse watching the news with them freaking out about ICUs being 90% capacity. And I can't imagine a nurse watching that and go, oh my God, you know what I mean? They were probably like, what? Yeah, we're always at fucking 90%. Our jobs are crazy. We work 12-hour shifts and we have 20 patients. It's rough.
I have only one pushback for that. So at the VA hospital here in Des Moines, when I don't remember exactly when it was, I want to say about a month in, I showed up to do my normal route, and they had military vehicles. There was 2 or 3 Humvees. I'm not kidding you. And they had the OD green tents set up with the chimneys and stuff. Like they were gonna run out of room inside. And I'm like, What?
single person
There
was
was
gonna
not
go
a
there.
single person was in there. The people in the Humvees just kind of chilling, smoking cigarettes,
Yep.
like throw their mask on, And I'm like, oh wow.
There
It's
was no,
like
there was no, that
kabuki
was the other
theater.
thing too. Like the NIS in Britain, and I'm sure they had them in Canada too, where they should set up the pop-up hospitals for
Oh
the
my god,
overflow.
dude, everywhere.
Yeah.
It,
I think that was a psyop.
it was
dude.
always a psyop, and here's the
Mhm.
thing, because there's not a fucking ICU in their right mind that is going to put patients outside, dude.
No.
Not one good ICU worth their salt is going to put patients outside on a ventilator.
They wanted
in
to give the
fucking
image
tent.
that there was going to be this horde of COVID infected people that was going to descend upon the VA, and they're going to be like, get back.
Kind of
Yeah.
did it,
Literally.
so we have to.
Yeah. I want to say just a quick shout out real quick. Thanks to Brady Burleson for the $5 super chat. He says hello. We say hello back, sir. And Benjamin Held from the great state of Iowa as well. He threw us a $10 super chat. And he said, did I miss where AJ railed about the state seizing the accounts of people who were protesting lockdowns?
No, we didn't get that far yet.
We haven't.
No.
We got a
So we're
lot.
soon
Yeah.
getting there.
We're
Well,
getting there.
And we definitely, and the funny thing is that didn't really happen that much here in the United States. I don't think it happened at all in the United States. But it did in Canada.
Yeah.
Big time. The
It
truckers,
did happen here. I'm
they
trying to think
stole-
of a specific
PayPal
example.
stole how many millions of dollars from the truckers?
I know PayPal and what are
Oh,
they called?
yeah.
It was GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
There was,
Oh, GoFundMe, yeah.
It was like
was
$7.5 million raised for the trucker protests. That said, they just said nope. I think they refunded everyone.
They weren't going to, though.
Yeah, they were going to take that money and give it to like other
Oh, they were gonna give it to, like,
organizations. I was like,
charity.
geez, are you insane?
Yeah.
It's like
that's
$13 million.
Yeah, they were
F.
gonna give it. They were gonna give it to other charities, and
Charity.
then people started filing ethics complaints. I think is
Yep.
what got them to finally refund the money to everybody.
Yeah, they refunded and then people gave it to KFC and Go, but I think they also got blocked. I don't think they were allowed.
Yeah, and I think
Government
Canada
and-
probably has a lot to do with that. I mean, that the government there is pretty. It's probably the least free state in the West, I'd imagine.
And yet people in Canada think they're so free, but they don't understand that you're not free. You're just a slave who thinks he's free.
Well, you guys do have Molson Ice, dude. You know what I mean? So
Tim Hortons, eh?
I've never been to I would like to go to a
I
Tim
don't
Hortons.
know.
sometime.
Got some
It's-
Tim beds. You'll be
it's
all right.
so trash now. Don't even bother.
I saw a video on YouTube of a woman throwing her own shit at a worker in a Tim Hortons in Canada, and ever since I seen that, I was like, hell yeah, badass! I gotta check out Tim Hortons someday, dude. This fucking place is a party.
No, I think Tim Hortons was one of the first to do the vaccine passport stuff. They weren't allowing.
Were there any
but
were
all
there
of
any
them
big were there any big companies in Canada that pushed back at all?
Pushed back. Jeez.
Oh, what about the
I don't
gyms?
think-
What about the health facilities?
Oh, yeah. The gyms had the vaccine passports. All of them: gyms, museums, libraries, movie theaters, swimming pools, weddings. If you want to have a wedding, you have to be vaccinated.
Oh my god. Was it
Every list. I couldn't do anything for like 12 months, or maybe even a year and a half, and it was very weird because my friends were all going out, and they thought it was all normal what they were doing, and I was just that was quite hard.
Have you,
Yeah,
Aviel, have you ever been to America? I'm sure you have. Right?
No, but I want to go.
So you don't know what the Waffle House is then?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I think I saw on Twitter about like the Waffle House and do like the they like throw shit.
Oh, the
and-
chair girl. You
Yeah,
probably saw the
yeah,
chair girl
chair
video.
girl, I saw that.
Because Benzo Barbie asked in the chat, she said, "Is Tim Hortons Canada's Waffle House?" And I was like, "It could be. It maybe." I saw a woman literally take a shit on the floor, pick up her shit, and throw it at the Tim Hortons employee.
Is it like a Denny's? Is it more of a Denny's or more of a Waffle House?
It's more of like a Dunkin' Donuts. Or,
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a coffee spot.
Like a Village
coffee,
Inn?
donuts.
Yeah, so it sells coffee and donuts. That's what.
It's like
people
Dunkin'.
go
Like a
there
Baker
for.
Square?
No, it's like Dunkin'. It's like
a
Dunkin'.
Dunkin' Donuts, dude.
Bro, you
I
we
live,
went over this.
bro, you live in Iowa. You know what Dunkin' Donuts is. Shut
I
up,
know,
dude.
I know.
Jesus.
Just naming
It's
all the
just
breakfast
Dunkin'
places.
now, by the way.
It's just
They're all the
Yeah.
same. It's all the same place.
Do you guys? I got to ask a stupid off the wall question here. By the way, I don't like Dunkin' Donuts. I think their coffee stinks hella bad, and their donuts are not very good.
Yeah, my wife and kids love it.
But I will say this. Oh, my wife loves Dunkin'. It's like
Yeah.
some of her favorite coffee, and this coffee is trash. But when I was a kid, there was two major competing donut places, like chain donut places.
Yeah.
Dunkin' was one of them, and the other one was called Winchell's.
Oh,
Do you guys ever
No.
had a place called Winchell's?
negative.
Never heard of her.
It was
Negative.
fucking heavenly, dude. Some of the best donuts I've ever had in my life. I miss them all the time. Winchell's Donuts was a chain that was competing with Dunkin'. In
Pacific
fact,
Northwest,
no, it was in California.
California.
And I'll tell you, Winchell's was all over the country. I know that. But Dunkin' is all gone in California. There is no Dunkin' in California anymore at all.
Oh.
They're all gone. They've been gone for not as long as Winchell's, but for a long, long fucking time, dude. But we had a little Asian lady donut place down the street from my grandma's house growing up that was called Peter Piper's Donuts. And they were the best donuts I ever had. It was just one little Asian lady that worked in there, and she would get up at like 2:00 in the morning every morning and
make
fucking
donuts.
make hundreds and hundreds of donuts, dude. And they had the best jelly filled. Of course I'm fat. I like jelly filled donuts and
That
custard
sounds
donuts.
good.
I'm a fat fuck. But that jelly, they had it was like a berry jelly donut, and I had a paper route. In fact, I had 2 paper routes for a while. I did 2 different neighborhoods at like 9, 10 years old when you could make money as a child. And I would go on Saturday mornings. I would go and do my paper route at 4:00 in the morning because that's what time you had to get up and do your paper route. You had to have the papers out before everyone woke up by 5, right? I'd get up, I'd go do my paper route, and then I'd go buy a dozen donuts and a gallon of fucking milk. I'd go home and I'd eat donuts and drink milk like all
Jesus.
morning long, dude. Anyways, stupid, but yeah.
And you didn't have to wear an N95 mask when you were handing out.
No,
the
and I
papers,
used to go out at 4:00 in the morning on my own when
with
I was
rubber
like
gloves.
10 and 11 years old on my bike to throw papers.
You
and
didn't
no
wear
one
rubber
gave-
gloves.
No
when
one
you
gave
threw
a
'em out?
shit, dude. Like no one cared. Everybody was like,
spray them
"Yeah, dude,
down
we
with
all got paper routes. Who
disinfectant
cares,
spray?
dude?" I don't know. Did
And I
you?
will.
Did they still have
Oh.
paper routes in Canada?
They do, but in Canada, there's no competition at all. Like there's just Starbucks and Tim Hortons, and Tim Hortons is like almost entirely subsidized by the government.
Really?
What?
It's really fucked up
What?
market. It's very subsidized. I think the only reason Tim Hortons exists still is because of the subsidies it gets.
Holy
It's really
shit.
trash. Like it's.
Well,
I don't even like Tim Hortons.
Starbucks gets subsidies here.
It
There's
does.
no
yeah.
doubt. There's no doubt about it, dude. I mean, the government has absolutely. That's why they're such. You know, if you go and look up the fucking ESG scores, Starbucks is like up there in the top 5, dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they get cheap, like super cheap credit. I don't know if they direct
Oh, they get
subsidies.
subsidies for sure, dude. No doubt about it. They get all kinds of kickbacks and bigger tax breaks than other corporations
Okay.
and all that. Subsidy can also be a tax break, which listen. Don't get me wrong, dude. I think that we should have. I don't rally against tax breaks for anybody. I don't give a fuck. People are like, well, what if only white people were getting tax breaks and not black people? Would you be okay with that? Yes. I would be okay. I would be okay with any group of people getting tax breaks because taxes are fucking theft.
Yeah.
And so when people try to use it as like a gotcha, well, what if everyone got a tax break except for trans people? Yes. I don't know how many more times I have to say, and then they always try to get you with the gotcha. Well, what if everybody got one but white people? Yes. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, dude. Like I think that there should be tax breaks for everybody. But if some group can get them, more power to them.
Do
They
it.
should have it. I don't give a fuck I don't care if it's the KKK, dog.
Yeah.
Tax breaks? Yes. Tax breaks for everybody. So
That's
I
getting
don't
clipped.
someone's gonna clip that. No, but seriously, tax breaks for everybody. I don't give a fuck who it's for or what it's about. I think that taxes are a scam. They've been a scam. We didn't have federal tax in the United States until 1913, and they needed it for war. And then the Federal Reserve came around. I could go off on a whole tangent on that. You
Yeah.
know that
Technically, Lincoln was the first one to do
wartime taxes.
federal taxes. He implemented a like 3% income tax that lasted like 2 years to pay off the Civil War.
Sure.
And then unbelievably,
If I needed any more ammo for fucking that tyrant.
unbelievably,
Oh, yeah.
once the war was
Fuck
paid
yeah,
off,
FDR.
Once we've
they
paid for the
stopped
Civil War.
the income tax.
Wow. Well, they probably knew that if they probably were going to have another war if they didn't stop the income tax. That's the thing, because listen, you can argue about all you want with what the Civil War was over. I don't give a fuck. I will tell you this. If they had levied a bigger tax on the South would have went back to war again. I promise you at that time,
Yes.
you were too close to the T tax still. And there was still this direct descendants of those people around who would have been like, hell no, fuck no. And so they probably had to end it. Now we have a society full of fucking weak vaginas that are too afraid to even speak up. In fact, they take the opposite on that and constantly advocate for taking more of their own money from them for whatever fucking reason. Oh, free school,
That's
free healthcare.
Canada.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh yeah, dude. I can
that's
only
big
imagine.
Canada.
What's your tax rate like up there?
I'm gonna say income. I think is the same as California. It's very close. In Ontario, it's like almost 50% or something.
Yeah, California. I did the math one
Holy
time.
shit.
And this is true. I did the math one time. Between the state tax, the federal tax, the property tax if you're a property owner, the luxury taxes, the sin taxes, the property taxes. I'm trying to think what else. It's more than 50% of your pay.
All of the taxes.
More than
All of the
50%.
taxes.
If you're a California resident
Yeah.
and you don't make $200,000 a year, you cannot survive in most places.
Honestly,
in California.
I think California sometimes is even worse than Canada because I see
is.
some shit.
We
going
should
on, like,
annex it to Canada.
Yeah, and the downside is you're living in California. It's not Denmark.
Well, I will say this, dude. This is the thing. California is a fucking cool state, bro. I know that a lot of people talk a lot of shit about California, but I'll tell you this, dude. There's not another place in this world where you can have the redwood forest, the Sierra Nevadas, the ocean, the desert, nice big cities, all this shit in one place. It is the only place in the world that I know of that has all of that stuff in one place. I can leave the Sierra Nevadas, put my snowboard away, leave the Sierra Nevadas, and in 4 hours be on the beach in 80-degree weather.
That's crazy.
It's pretty cool.
On the other side of the balance, you have Gavin Newsom.
Exactly, dude.
You
So
have
it's just like this kinda
reparations
hanging
now.
Yeah, reparations now too. Yeah.
Oh God,
Yeah, that's gonna be a new
I
tax.
don't know.
Oh, God.
Who's like I don't know who's more fucked, Gavin or Trudeau. Like they both look so evil. They just look.
Well, we got to we I think the only way we can deduce who is the worst is they have to have a sock off with socks. I think it's the only way.
Sock off.
If Gavin's just got straight gray socks on, he's obviously more
right.
evil than Justin Trudeau, because Justin Trudeau has shown that he's not an evil person because he wears festive, fun socks.
Didn't Trudeau fight somebody?
No.
Didn't Trudeau box
Socks with
somebody?
snowmen on them.
You're thinking about the old leader of the Canadian Libertarian Party.
Yeah?
What's his
Is
name?
that what I'm
What's his
conflating?
name?
I swear to
I
God,
don't
I
even
saw
know.
it. I
Did a
thought
charity fight.
Trudeau
against,
did like a charity boxing
No,
match.
it wasn't him. It was he's a firefighter. I've talked to him a million times. I've hung out with him. In fact, he moderated my national chairman debate in 2018
Oh, wow.
at the national convention. Hold on.
Okay.
Canadian.
Try finding him.
While you're doing
No.
that, I've been holding on to a little tidbit for like 20 minutes here.
Okay.
My workplace,
Tim Moen.
right after they lifted the state of emergency, my workplace started treating COVID like every other illness. So
Shocking.
They put something on like the TVs around the office that said, we're no longer giving like special exception to COVID-19. It will be treated like every other illness. And it's like, this should have happened from like month 2.
I will still
Like,
say
month
this.
1, I understand some
Yes.
special exception. Month 2,
I will say that the first 2 weeks of this scamdemic, they were probably warranted in saying suggested shelter in place. Suggested.
Yeah.
Not you will shelter in place, you will
Yeah.
lock down, you will do a suggested, like, hey, we don't know enough about this disease to tell you what's going to happen. You might want to stay home for a couple weeks, and if you can, if you have
That's
that
fair.
luxury.
Go gather together in small groups and get real close to each other.
I would have been fine with that. I would have said, all right, dude, you know what? That's okay. I don't give a fuck. If it was like a suggestion, same with the mask, dude. Here's the thing with the whole mask thing. Like, I don't give a fuck if you wear a mask. I'm going to clown you if you're wearing a mask in 2020.
Oh yeah.
I am going to make fun
Oh,
of you.
yeah.
I am
Me too.
going to clown you. We know they don't help you. If
It's
you're
fun.
wearing a mask right now in 2023, chances are you've already had COVID twice. At
Oh,
least.
and we know that you are balls deep in this IOP.
Balls
Like
deep,
you are,
dude.
you are
They've
like
gotten,
walking around in a different
1,000
planet.
Jabs too. You've gotten like at least 5 jabs.
Oh
at
yeah, they're on
least.
the
Oh,
fifth jab,
at
and they've
least.
all had COVID. And here's the thing: it's a good thing because when I see someone with a mask, I know right away I don't like you and I don't want to be around you. Like I know that it's almost like they're
That's how I
waving
do it.
a fucking flag in front of me. Like,
Yes.
hey, You don't want to be my friend. Yes, correct. I do not want to be your friend. I think you're a fucking idiot.
The religious symbol at this point.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
Or like a gang affiliation, but a really gay
a
gang.
really gay gang, dude. Like a very gay gang. Like I don't want to be your friend if you're still wearing a mask, dude. I'm sorry. Like if you have like a autoimmune disorder or something, cool. I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And even then I might still clown on you. But
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
but the truth of the matter is if you're a normal, healthy person who just lived through the last 3 years and you're still following the protocols from 3 years ago, you're not a smart person at all.
No.
You're continuing to buy into a psyop that hurt us all very badly. And I don't want to be your friend. In fact, you're my enemy. And I talked about this a lot on the show.
Yeah.
The last 3 years took me from let me help, let me educate, let me teach to get the fuck out of my way or else, dude.
Yep.
That's really what it did to me. And it did it to a lot of us. It's not like it just did it to me. It's not like it just did it to my friends in the Libertarian Party and the Liberty Movement. It did it to a lot of fucking people.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of people are now at a point where they don't trust big pharma. They don't trust the government. They don't trust healthcare professionals. And it's your fault. It's your fucking fault. It's all of you dumb shits that bought into this fucking mental disorder that gave way to all this shit, that gave the government maybe we can get away with this for longer. It's your fault. It's your fault. So if you're still wearing a mask in 2023 and you're a healthy individual, please don't talk to me. I don't want to know you. And vice versa. I'm sure you don't want to be my friend either if you still think that this is a true, real thing that happened.
Yep.
Then you probably don't want to be around me because I'm going to tell you that you're an idiot. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The guy that I know that wears a mask is also a vegan, so I don't think we can classify him as a healthy
Don't get me
individual.
started. Don't get me started with the
Vegan?
vegans, dude. Yeah, he said the guy that he knows that still wears a mask is a vegan. Don't get me started on the vegans, dude. I'll go off all night on him. Like, dude, is there a more self-pretentious fucking group in the whole world than vegans?
Yeah, I mean, they'll tell you. The joke is, how do you know if somebody's a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
Black Lives Matter activists.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad. But I'll tell you this:
Neck.
I for a little while was dating this woman who played roller derby, and she was a hardcore leftist, which, by the way, would never work out for me anymore. But this was many years ago. And we were hanging out. It was like one of the first nights we were hanging out. We were at her house and we had some drinks, and I was feeling a little, I like to tell my jokes when I've been drinking, And she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'd love to cook dinner for you sometime, but I'm a vegan, just so you're aware." And I was like, "Oh, that's totally cool. I'm a level 5 vegan." And she's like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, "I don't eat anything that casts a shadow." Right?
That's pretty good.
And she got so mad, dude.
Oh,
Like so
I can imagine.
immediately offended that I made this joke, dude. And I was like, it was like right there on the spot. I was like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work because that was a very tame joke for me.
Yeah.
Like very. But I'll never forget it. Yeah, I'm a level 5 vegan. She's like, what's that? I don't eat anything that casts a shadow. And she just could not.
that's all comedy.
It was hilarious.
All
I thought it was
comedy
funny.
is
I thought it was
so-
gonna be a funny joke because I was gonna follow it up with, "No, I'm just kidding. I eat bacon and all that shit too." But it's totally cool. Whatever you want to do, I'll eat your vegan food with you. You know what I mean? Like if we go out, I'll even order vegan just to make you happy with that. You know what I mean? But I was gonna follow it up with that. But
And she freaked out.
she fucking lost it. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Do you think it's a joke? Do you think it's stupid?
Projection.
And in my head, I was like, yeah, I think it's stupid, and I do think it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, and I just told a pretty funny joke, and you're not laughing, so we're obviously not compatible. Because I laughed when I said it. It was like when I came out with that punchline, I was like, I gave the giggle myself. And so if you're not going to laugh at it, we're probably not going to get along. I don't know. They're very pretentious people. There's some vegans. I've met some vegans that are like, oh yeah, I'm vegan. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? And then there's people like my ex-wife who said she was a vegetarian, and I came home late one night and she was faking asleep on the couch, and there was obviously popcorn chicken underneath the coffee table that she tried to hide. And I was like, "Are you fucking eating chicken?"
Oh god.
And she's like, "No, no, that was for the baby." Like, no, the baby's been asleep for like 4 hours. You were eating popcorn chicken on the couch, and you saw me come home, and you threw it under the coffee table and faked asleep. Faked asleep, dude. Get out of here right now. I couldn't believe it, dude. But I feel like some of the COVID people are like that too. It's all for show. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's all for show. Especially people who my age, like 25, 24, they're doing the masks and the jabs because they just want to fit it in, and they want to show people that they're so great and so nice and so caring and so smart. It's all a show.
Sure. And I've said that a lot over the last 2 years too. What it is these are like the people that are the worst on this stuff are the like childless, like friendless losers who have nothing, right?
The sinks.
The sinks. And this gave them a group identity, and it gave them what they think is power, which they've never felt before in their lives. And if you've never had any kind of power over another human being of some sort, in many different ways, then you don't know what it's like when somebody gets their first taste of power. And that first taste of power can be intoxicating, and it can be something like a drug that you don't ever want to get rid of. And so they have this virtuous collective group of people that are better than you now, and they're a part of that group. And if you're not, then you're a terrible, terrible person, and I'm better than you. And why would anyone want to give up that standing, that moral standing, that virtuous standing in society today when they were a loser 3 years ago?
Like I'd say too, like especially in the restaurants in Canada, the fact that you weren't allowed to go in and eat, like for some restaurants, if you were unvaccinated, you had to eat outside. So the people who were vaccinated were inside, all having their food, very high and mighty, and they watched the unvaccinated people eat on the sidewalk, in their car, on the patio. So it's almost as if it was a trip, like it was a massive.
It was a
trip.
caste system.
Yeah,
it was
they caught Newsom doing that in California.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
yeah. Well, Newsom is one of the most hypocritical. Don't get me started.
I fucking hate him.
They caught him going to a restaurant.
I'm from the Bay Area.
He was not vaccinated.
I'm from the Bay Area, California. I spent a lot of my time growing up in San Francisco, dude. It was one of my favorite big cities in the world. And he's the mayor of San Francisco that fucked that city up. He's the one that pulled all the funding for the police. He's the one that made it legal to shoot up in the street. He's the one that made it legal to shit on the sidewalks. He's the one that did all of that. And California looked at San Francisco today and said, "You know what we need? We need to make this the whole state." He failed upwards, dude. That's what you do in California. He's also a nephew of Nancy Pelosi. So I mean, it's like he's part of the family. Yeah.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, it's a shitty.
Yeah, now I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
just learned
shit's
that.
corrupt out of its mind.
And that's not like a theory. Like Justin Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro, which is not a theory either. In my opinion,
real life.
You can't put those two pictures besides each other and not understand.
Listen, I wanted it to be true, but I looked into it and I can't say with 100% certainty that it's true. I'm like there were some years that don't match up quite right with the age of his mom.
Yeah, I'm as sure of Justin Trudeau being Fidel Castro's son as I am that ICUs are not meant to run at 90%. Yeah. That's how sure I am.
I've never seen Justin Trudeau's supposed father. So I need to actually look
Trudeau
at him and see if they
literally looks just like Fidel Castro.
I know, like but maybe Elder Trudeau looks very similar to Fidel Castro as well, and it's some sort of freaky.
No, he doesn't.
Who?
No.
Elder Trudeau.
He's talking about Trudeau. It's a junior, right? Isn't his dad Trudeau? Or Justin, of course, but isn't it the same name?
Did they have the gay name Justin in the 60s?
No.
I don't know.
What's Justin Trudeau's dad's name? What was the Trudeau that Pierre. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Pierre Trudeau does not look like that's where the me you're kind of like, oh shit, maybe it could be true. He doesn't look very much like his dad.
Bro, I tell you this, dude. Sure. As a man who has procreated once or twice, who has kids that do look a lot like me, I can't look at a picture of Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau next to each other and honestly tell you that I don't think that's his dad. I do believe that's his dad.
I know. I'm saying I can't prove it. I can't say something like if I'm like 95% sure, okay, great. But I'm not positive sure. That's true.
I believe that Yuri
need DNA.
Bezmenov was warning us about Justin Trudeau. I think that's what he was warning us about.
True.
I think Yuri was like, listen, they're already here in the West getting into your governments. And he was talking about Justin
A
Trudeau.
Manchurian candidate.
Yeah. Trudeau's such a bitch too. Like I would box him for sure. No doubt.
I would box him. I'm a bitch.
No, physically, I don't think he has any skill.
Would you box him, Aviel? Would you do it? Yeah, I'd do it if he would do it. I've called a lot of people out for charity boxing events. That everybody, it seems like they usually block me, but I'd love to box. Listen.
Send an email after he watches the show.
I'm going to send an email after this to Justin Castro. Listen, Justin. Here's the deal. If we're going to have a charity fight, but the charity is if you win, we annex America to Canada. If I win, we get Canada for a right-wing utopia. Okay? Yes.
All I ask is before the fight that you spit in the palm of each of your hands before you form a fist.
And then, so it like splatters every time I hit him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I would do it. I don't know. Anyways, we're getting into this thing, guys. I gotta go put some babies to bed. What do you think? You guys got anything? You look like you wanted to say something. I don't want to.
No, I'm good.
I mean,
well, I'll say one more thing. It was on the topic of just the way people were acting. Is that even with my sort of friend group, my past friend group, it got so tiring of every day having them ask me if I'm gonna get vaccinated. It was like every day for like a year. And I kept saying no, or like maybe, or no, maybe. And at one point, they were like blaming me for the pandemic going on more.
Oh yeah, it was your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, and they blamed it to my face. I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything. I'm just like existing in my body. Like it was just so hard to talk with them, and it just came to a point where they were just talking about the vaccine all the time, and there came a point where I brought them over this one time, and we were in the elevator, right? And the one friend who I haven't seen for very long, he's like 5'1", like he's a short guy. He asked me if I got vaccinated. I think it's like 2021 in the summer, maybe, or earlier. And I said no. And his face was like, and so everyone around me, all the friend group, had their heads like tilted downwards. And he's just shocked. And it was such a absurd existence for that like solid amount of time. It was just so bizarre.
It's kind of like a metaphor for the whole situation that we were all in at the same time, dude. I mean, it was like these people yelling and screaming and telling us we're terrible people for not getting a experimental drug put into our body that we don't feel comfortable getting.
Yeah.
Crazy times. You got some?
Yeah, I remembered what I was going to ask. So when you were talking about vaccine passports, I'm sorry I'm asking this so late. Was it an app or a card, or was it both? What was the actual passport?
Okay, so yeah, it was first. I think it was a piece of paper, and then it was and then it became a QR code. So I'd be in the mall. That I've been in this mall for 10 years. And they allowed me to shop, but I couldn't. And they allowed me to go in the cafeteria and eat food, but I couldn't sit down. So they had like a wall around the cafeteria seating, and I just saw a big lineup of individuals all having their QR codes and laughing about it and smiling. And I'm just there thinking like, I felt like I was living in like a 1984 mixed with the Brave New World, mixed with the Alan Moore's V for Vendetta, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like I was living in that reality, and it came a point where I was just I was just going through it that I kind of wanted to protest on my own. So I grabbed that mask, the VE mask, right?
Yep.
And I got like a cool like black sweater or like a black jacket, and I went in the mall with the mask on, and I scared the shit out of some kids. I kind of felt bad. I walked through the mall and I stared at the stupid friggin' security guard who's like stopping me from going in and like, eating food. I just stared her down. And so I basically walked around. I was staring at them. I got one person who liked me. The rest were like I was scared I was gonna get like shanked. And I
Well, you know
remember-
you're not gonna get shot.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. It's also unfortunate about all that shit. But and I remember vividly, I was just standing there staring at them while they were eating, and it was three older ladies. They were almost in support of me, but they said that we had to do what we had to do. That's what she said to me, like in words, and I was like, it all felt so surreal. And then I protested again because I was also going through it. I went to the movie theater, which they weren't allowing me to go in. I was like mad about it. And I was just standing there outside, and I had a little sign saying complicit. That was it. And I would just stand outside, and I would see all these people in line just having their QR codes out, and and a few of them were like smiling and laughing at me. And I was like, you shouldn't be laughing at me. You should be laughing at you.
You should be.
What are you doing?
Feel like an absolute idiot.
Yeah. And then I was talking to one person about, the fact that they came up to me and asked me, why I thought this way. And I told them that it's a very slippery slope. What's going on? And they were like, no, I don't see it that way. And just walked in the theater. And
Bizarre. I can't.
So it was like quite the black pill, but then the Ottawa convoy was a nice red pilling moment. That was fun. I've never seen so many cars honking.
That
that was
cool.
cool.
We were very, very, very lucky here in Iowa, dude. Like I hear these stories and I'm just like, dude, we didn't get anywhere near anything like that here in Iowa, dude.
We were really pro trucker, by the way. I don't know if you have gauged the response from Americans, but everybody in America that was against the mandates saw that trucking thing and was like in full support. So I'm sure a lot of that.
At some point, Reed Coverdale was talking about doing their own here in the United States.
They tried to get it down. There were some rallies down here, but they were mostly like kind of at the county level or at the city level. And I participated in one of them. We went downtown, and it was like, I think there were 2 semis, and then it was just a convoy of cars. We had flags and stuff, and we honked, and we drove around Des Moines.
Would have been nice to have one here, but it doesn't matter. We, like I said, we were extremely lucky in Iowa. We didn't have to deal with any of this shit. The craziest thing that really happened to me outside of my job mandates was I walked into a Target and there was a little mask guy there, and he's like, "Hey, take a mask," and I'm like, "No thanks," and he's like, "No, you have to take a mask." I was like, "No, thanks."
That happened a lot.
And he's like, "You have to take a mask," and I was like, "No, I'm not going to take a mask." Are you telling me that I have to have a mask on or I have to leave? He's like, "Yeah, that's it." And then so I just started going to Walmart, and I never went back to Target, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally all. That's the craziest thing that happened to me. And I still find it funny because in the summer of both 2020 and 2021, we were at the big theme park here, Adventureland, and I didn't see a mask anywhere.
Nope.
The whole time we were there,
Oh, wow.
not one,
Nope.
not one, dude. Not one. We got extremely lucky here, dude.
Yeah.
Really
Although
did.
I will say that it's a silver lining of what happened to me, at least, because then I would never have known about like anarchism and libertarianism, and to actually want to write, like nonfiction and fiction. Like it really was a setting stone for a lot of people where it really like switched their lives up.
I think that's the only real silver lining is
I
that it
think so.
red pilled a ton of people. And it's always funny to me too, some of the weird red pilling things that happened. It made the left more pro big pharma and healthcare.
Oh my god, the left is gone.
It made the left more pro cop.
It exposed those people.
It made the right
Yeah.
more pro holistic care.
Yeah.
right.
and natural health.
Yep.
Which and more
It was, like,
anti-cop.
flipping.
Yeah.
Very, very, very strange, dude. Very, very strange to watch the flippening, I called it, during
The flippening,
the flippening, yeah. It was very, very
They watched
strange.
those votes kind of bleed out and like, no, come here.
Yeah, dude, it was really strange. And I think that's the silver lining to all this. I really do. I think that it woke so many people up that we've now are watching in real time the absolute collapse of the corporate news media. And the proof of that is that Tucker Carlson, who has been really good on this the whole time, by the way, the whole 3 years, he was really good on the COVID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really good on the war. He's been really good on some stuff. He has, we were talking about draft day for on the last show for Tucker Carlson and what network we thought he would end up at. Guess what, guys? He's not going to a network. He is going independent from Twitter. And he put out a video on his Twitter that yesterday, it's been 1 day now, that has more than 100 times the daily viewers of the entire Fox News network in one day. More than 100 times, dude. They are not going to be able to get anywhere near that with their 8 o'clock slot. They're not going to be able to get anywhere near that with anybody they have on Fox News. We are watching in real time citizen journalism and independent journalism become the next big thing. And that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And COVID did that.
And we're also starting to see some boycotts actually fucking work.
Bud Light has tanked.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yep.
Tanked.
She's done.
Yeah.
The lady that had that idea is done.
Oh, she was let go immediately.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Immediately.
Yeah, but with that, be careful about some of the numbers and whatnot and stories being spread around, because there is a ton of people just flat out lying about what's going on with Bud Light. I do know things are down for them because of the boycott.
No. Things aren't just down, dude. Go look at their stock.
It's 30. Listen. Bud Light dropped 30%. That was a pretty hard stat. In a week, I saw 27 to 30% was a hard stat. So that's a big drop.
It's a big drop.
Yeah.
That's a big drop.
And they've dropped
now,
more than
they own all these. It's a conglomerate. They own all these other brands. So that's it's pissing in the ocean, really.
Right.
But for that brand, that message was sent very clear. Hey, fuck you. That was dumb.
I'm very excited to see what happens with the. Listen, I'm going to be honest. Okay, I really don't give a shit about this hubbub about the new Little Mermaid movie coming out. Like, I don't care that they made the Little Mermaid
the Black
black.
Mermaid.
It doesn't
I
bother
heard
me.
about
It
that.
literally doesn't bother me at all. She's a fucking mermaid. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
I gotta push back.
And I think that I think that Melissa McCarthy is probably going to be fucking hilarious as Ursula. I really do.
That'll be good.
But I am
I'll
interested
tune in for that.
because people. Yeah, it would probably. I'll probably
No,
watch it just because
The
of
Little
Melissa
Mermaid
McCarthy.
is a Danish fairy tale, and I'm half Danish. I take personal offense to this. Okay.
This is an erasure of
This is not
gingers.
just taking a liberty with a story and forcing diversity into it. This is a clear fuck you to the Danish people. This is a clear fuck you to Danish fairy tales in general. And they are, they want to get so mad about misgendering. Well, you're misracing
your mermaids.
our mermaids. You're misracing our
That's true.
mermaid. And I'm not going to stand for it.
I just see, to me, it's like I don't give a fuck because, well, it's a mermaid, and two, because the original Little Mermaid cartoon probably just absolute shit all over your fucking Danish folklore too. I'm sure it's not like it was.
Yeah, they made her a redhead. She was like some Irish chick.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that the one from Danish folklore is probably pretty fucking dark, dude.
It's probably some kind of like sea creature that murders you and bites your dick
All
off.
the Disney movies that have been taken from fairy tales took from very dark, very dark fairy tales and turned them into classic children's.
No, it's probably a story like where she's a siren and you're like, it's you're not supposed to listen to her and she woo you off the ship.
Have you watched the new Del Toro Pinocchio? Have you seen
No, I have not.
I've
I
watched
mentioned half of
40
it.
minutes of it.
My mother, who is a fucking diehard Disney fanatic, has Disney tattoos and shit. Okay, she's an adult Disneyer.
Okay.
She's like,
Disney.
don't watch the movie. It's so bad. It's so
What do you mean?
it's way too dark. It's so bad. I almost felt like it was evil, and I'm like, oh,
That's cute.
because
Probably great.
because they told the real story
Oh,
from the original Pinocchio and not
Yeah.
the Disney
not the Disney
Pinocchio.
version of Pinocchio.
Right. And so
That's
it's
cool.
dark, like he probably
Yeah.
dies in the end and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's dark. And that's how those stories were supposed to be. They were written that way. A lot of fairy tales were kind of horror stories almost.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
cautionary tale. It's
Yeah.
so your kids don't fuck around.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Well, guys, we're getting into this thing. Aviel, I appreciate you, man. The book is called the book is called Ethics of Vaccine Passports, a Poor Bargain. Sir, where can people find the book? Where can they listen to you, support you, and follow you?
So they can buy the book on Amazon, and you can follow me on Twitter. That's sort of it. I do.
Oppenheim.
Oh yeah,
Aviel.
Oppenheim, Aviel. So it's the same name, but just flip. And I do plan to write more. Like I do have a fiction book in the works now, and I plan to publish it in a few months. So kind of just stay tuned. And I do plan to make some kind of impact and speak to some things that are important, for people
Sure.
to.
Well, if you need someone to read your audiobook, when I finally finish
Yeah.
Dave Benner's audiobook, I can
I'll
do
keep that
yours
in
for
mind.
you too. But as has been, the production of this book has been very, very hard for me. I used to, I in the beginning I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally get it done in the next 60 days. Whew! That goal
Yeah.
just came and went. And I'm still working on it. So if Dave is watching, I love you to death, buddy. But I'm still working
that's
on it.
fine.
I promise you, we're gonna go a little over the date, but it's still coming out. It's gonna be really well produced, and it's got my voice, so still.
And
smooth.
I'll for sure keep that in the back of my head.
Yeah, it's a
if
Thomas.
that
It's a
comes
Thomas
right.
Paine book. That's the other thing too.
Oh, Thomas. Oh, right. You have
Yeah.
the what's his name? Again? I follow him on Twitter.
Dave Benner.
Yeah, him.
Yeah,
huh.
he wrote a book.
He's awesome. I like
Yeah,
him.
the book is called Life of Radicalism. It's a Thomas Paine story. It's really
I'm gonna have
well
to read
written.
that.
But here's the thing: Dave is way smarter than I am, and he used some big fucking words. Also, there's
Oh,
French
yeah?
words that I have to pronounce.
Uh-oh.
so
I can't even speak French, and I'm from Canada, so
yeah.
I
Well,
get
here's the
that.
thing. It's very hard to pronounce French words when you're American. B, it almost goes against my principles to speak French. And so that's kind of a problem too. No, but we are
That's
doing
fair.
good. I just are you French by any chance?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
That's good. I have zero French DNA in me. I want the record to reflect that I have zero French DNA in me. I don't like
It's
French very
quite
much.
funny how there is like French as a second language here, but a lot of people in Canada don't like the French. Like there's kind of a lot of conflict between people in Quebec and people outside of Quebec.
Well, yeah, the people in Quebec eat Pop-Tarts with ketchup on it. Dude. It's fucking weird, bro. They're French, dude. Frenchies are
it's
weird.
funny.
They're like, try our
Frenchies are-
food.
Yeah.
Try our
French.
food. It's very good. It's very good. But we don't put any salt or pepper in it, though.
Do you know the secret to speaking in a French accent? Just
Be hella
every-
gay.
no, you put
Oh.
everything as forward as possible. You just took it to the very front of your mouth and it comes out very French immediately.
Oh, fucking terrible, by the way, Ryan. That was really bad, bro. Like,
You can
you
suck
literally
my
sounded
entire
like you
dick,
just
Jewish.
walked in. You sound like you just walked in from the Middle Eastern desert, dude.
Yeah, that was more Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
I'm a
that
little
was-
out
That
of
did
practice,
sound
but
kinda
He sounded like he was about to try and sell me a VCR or
played
something, bro.
Lumiere and
Sounded
Beauty
bit
and the
Arabic.
Beast.
Bro, you sounded like you were about to try and sell me a VCR or
I
something.
sounded like the fucking Bill Clinton kid, to be honest.
That was really bad, dude. Really
Oh.
bad. I'm not even going to try because I know mine's going to be bad too. So, hey, good on you for trying, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
Aviel,
was
I'm a big
good.
fan, man. I appreciate you to
Thanks,
death.
man. And I'm glad for you guys to invite me on. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. I was
Yeah,
more
nice
than
to meet
happy
you,
to
dude.
have you, buddy. You're
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
you're great, and I look forward to your new books coming out, man. Thanks again.
Awesome, man. See ya.
Take it easy. Guys, the book is called Ethics of Vaccine Passports, a Poor Bargain. You can get it on Amazon right now. You should go check it out, buy it, support this man. Anybody who's willing to write against the regime is A-OK in my book. And you should support anybody that's doing so. It's the independent journalists and writers and media people like that are actually going to make a difference in history. So please do. JC said use AI to do audiobooks in your voice. Fuck, I didn't even think about that, dude. Damn it. I could. Oh man, that could make my whole job so much easier. No, it's got to have my imperfections, bro. I'm sorry. Guys, you got anything before we take off?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at BulldogGamer28, and then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the show, share it with your friends, share it with your mom, share it with your Twitter audience, spread it far and wide. We love you guys, and we'd love for you to do that.
AJ?
Give me a follow on Twitter as well, poison_tip. Hey, my video went viral from Moonlight Industries, the Arizona ATF that showed up door to door to take his FRT. I put it on my Twitter. Anyway, go check my Twitter out, and then that'll link you to my TikTok.
Nice. Yeah. Well, thanks.
Fuck
guys.
the ATF.
Yeah, fuck the ATF. Exactly. Did you see the meme I posted about the FBI? I said, hell yeah, I'm an FBI informant. I inform them that they're gay.
I informed them that they're gay. They eat their poo-poo.
Huh?
They
I don't know. I
eating
found it
their
on
poo-poo.
you. I found that meme on Facebook. I think it was actually Benzo Barbies. Maybe, I don't know. I stole it from somebody on
Maybe.
Facebook and posted it on my Twitter because it was so fucking funny. Now I use it as a reaction meme, pretty much. Guys, like I said, on Tuesday we're gonna have a great show with Pete Parada, the excommunicated drummer of Offspring. we are working our ass off to rebuild the show and make it something that you guys want to watch again. We're having some great guests come in and lots of talks with some really cool people. I think we're going to end up having Jamie Mitchell from the founder of Gays Against Groomers coming on soon. We'll talk. We'll just sit there and rag on Drag Queen Story Hour for an hour and a half. It'll be a lot of fun. Ben Hill, thanks for becoming a supporter of the show, man. That's really cool of you. Appreciate it, dude. We will see you guys
Thanks,
on Tuesday for an all-new Break the Cycle. But until then, don't forget to break cycle.
Due to legal reasons, I just have to explain. The lyrics of my last song may seem to contain a violent call to action in the verse and refrain, but I just meant it in Minecraft. The helicopter part was in reference to GTA 5 and the things you do. So any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just meant it in Minecraft. A chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just meant it in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make you a corpse in Minecraft, just in Minecraft. Nothing I